Hello and welcome to the Clear Voice, brought to you by Clear Career Professionals. I'm your host, James Groom. Today we have a special episode for you as we just launched recruiting efforts for the Montgomery County Emergency Communication District Deputy Director position. To learn a little bit more about this position, I'm joined with the Clear Recruiter and Associate Vice President of Clear, Brian Beasley. Welcome to the show, Brian.
Good morning, James. Thank you for having me.
Well, how's it going in your world, Brian?
It's going pretty well. Today, we are really fortunate. We get to speak with Chip VanSteenberg, and he is the director of the Montgomery County Emergency Communications District. And he has a great opportunity and options for folks to come join his team. So we're going to walk through that today and let him tell us a little bit about the culture, let him tell us about the organization and about the opportunity that he has within his organization.
Well, welcome to the show, Chip. We're glad to have you.
Thank you very much. Happy to be here.
This will be a direct report for you, I'm assuming?
That's correct.
So we kind of want to learn a little bit about you. How did your career begin? What got you into this line of work? It's, I guess, fairly unique. There's not too many positions like yours in the country. How did you eventually come to the Montgomery County Emergency Communications District?
Well, this is actually a second career for me, second focus in my career. I've been in local government, but I spent about over 20 years working for cities and got this opportunity to come to the Montgomery County Emergency Communication District almost 13 years ago. I was working in Montgomery County and knew of the district, had worked with some of the people on staff and the board. And when they were looking for an executive director, I got the opportunity to come on board here. So I didn't really know a lot about 911 as I started here. I knew more about Montgomery County and how it functioned and how the different partner agencies all worked together. And so that was an important part of what they were looking for. An executive director at the time was somebody to manage relationships, do some long-term planning, and bring all the partners around the table and build something together. So my career was in local government, city government, but got really specific in 911 as I took this on.
And was there ever a moment, maybe early in your career, when you realized, like a lot of us may have started working with government just because it was a job? Was that like that for you? And at what point did you discover that it was more than just a job, it was maybe a calling?
It was early on. When I was very young, out of college, I wanted to be a city manager. And as I immersed myself in that culture, went to the city managers' meetings and conferences and hung out with as many city managers as possible, I realized there's something unique and special about local government. When I was planning my career, I thought maybe I wanted to do something on the national or international level, but I found that you can have a big impact, work with people, make a difference in people's lives at that local level, much more so. You'll be able to see those changes. It's rewarding to me as I drive around different communities that I've served in, being able to see programs and projects that we did when I was part of those teams. So yeah, when I realized that you can really make an impact on people's lives on a day-to-day basis, that's when I realized it's more than just a job.
Yeah, thank you for saying that. Speaking of making a difference, the organization that you run is making a difference every day, the MCECD. Now, my understanding of it is that it's more like the backbone for the entire county's 911 operation. Is that kind of how you would define it?
We are what's known as the Regional 911 Authority. So we're the point of connection between the telecommunication providers and the emergency call centers. There are 5 different emergency call centers here in Montgomery County, all run by different agencies that respond to 911 calls for different types of calls of service or location. And so if you think about all the different telecommunication providers out there, you can go a step beyond them to all their customers. When they want to dial 911, something that is supposed to be an easy connection that gets them directly to the person they're looking for who can provide them help in that time of emergency. So all those customers with all their different forms of communication, different telecommunication providers, they all funnel into our system as a point of contact. We reach out to them to make sure they know where to direct those 911 calls. They come to us. We funnel them out to the right agency and provide that backbone. As you said, it's a good term to use for our type of system that then disperses those calls to the different 911 agencies and then keeps them connected, able to do transfers, special services, everything you're going to need, a 911 call taker is going to need to handle that emergency.
You guys have, you said 5 agencies that rely on you for providing all the telecommunication. What are those agencies?
We have the Montgomery County Sheriff's Office and the Conroe Police Department. And I'll say a note about those two. Those are what we call our primary call centers. PSAPs is the term we use in the industry, Public Safety Answering Point. Any 911 call in Montgomery County is going to go to one of those two agencies depending upon the location. If they're in the city of Conroe, it's going to go to Conroe Police Department. If they're outside the city of Conroe, it's going to go to the Sheriff's Office. So those are our two primaries. We have the three others are secondaries. So they will get a call if it's transferred to them. Most of those transfers occur in county, but some occur from out of county. The Montgomery County Hospital District is a county-wide agency that handles EMS service. They handle ambulance for an emergency medical dispatch for the whole county. If the caller needs emergency medical service, it's going to be transferred to the hospital district. We have the Woodlands Fire Department that coordinates all the fire response for the county except Conroe. Conroe's a unique operator there, but anywhere outside of Conroe, your fire service is going to be coordinated by the Woodlands Fire Department. And then we have a fifth one that we added recently. It's the Conroe Independent School District. The school district in Conroe is fairly large. They've got the third largest police department in Montgomery County. They run a 24/7 dispatch center, so we thought it was important to tie them into our 911 system.
You have all those entities relying on you, and you don't directly supervise any of those dispatchers, but I just wanted to point out that Texas recently made dispatchers name them as first responders in the state. I'm sure you interact with them in their centers. Have you seen that making a difference for them, finally recognizing them for that role?
The difference on that is going to be in the way that the different dispatch centers and the dispatchers themselves are eligible for various programs or benefits available under either federal or state grant programs. A lot of state grant programs are targeted, when they're targeted for first responders, if telecommunicators are not counted as first responders, then those dispatch centers are not eligible for those kind of programs. It was an important change to make for their morale, but also more importantly for being able to make sure that those vital communication facilities are eligible for grant programs and special studies. For example, there was a study related to wellness for first responders. And so by having that change, now those 911 call takers can be included in that kind of study.
Yeah, I think that's a very important change, long deserved.
Exactly.
At the center, can you tell me the size of the staff? And you guys have some other roles that you have to fill as well.
So we're a fairly small staff. We're a staff of 11 people. We have our operations side, which we handle all the IT systems responsible for answering the calls. We also do all the addressing and the mapping for Montgomery County. As new subdivisions are proposed and developed, those plats come to us for addressing. Also, a lot of individual addresses assigned as multiple buildings may be built on one piece of property. We'll assign new addresses. We provide the networks that keep the call centers connected to each other. So we have a lot of redundancy built into that so that we can maintain uptime. We also provide the alerting system so that if the call centers have a need to push a message out to the public, we provide that system. We have some special services that we offer, like translation services that we provide for languages that are not English. We have call taker training programs that we'll provide, and just general support for the call centers.
Yeah, pretty diverse job beyond just being the backbone there.
Right.
Can you tell us what makes the deputy director role so important for Montgomery County Emergency Communications District's growth?
Well, it is one of the fastest growing counties out there. We're operating off of a design now that happened result of studies, 20 years ago, the way our system is structured and how calls flow. So we're starting to look at, the next 20 to 30 years. What do we want Montgomery County to look at? What direction are we going to go? We've actually purchased a piece of property to plan our next facility as we begin to outgrow this one. And so all that planning, how the system's going to go, what our new property is going to look like, the deputy director is going to be instrumental in that. And as well as building some systems and policies and practices around here that are going to sustain us as the county grows even more.
When you hire somebody for this role, what would you be looking for to measure their success in the next year or two?
Well, we've got some specific policies that need some attention, need to be developed and rewritten, and I think that's a good way for a newcomer to dive in, is to find out exactly how we're doing things and how our written policies need to adjust to what is happening on the ground. We've had some retirements recently of a couple long-term employees, so we need to kind of rebuild layer in some redundancy and cross-training into some areas. So that will be another important part. And then just learning the calendar, building the network for interoperability so that you can get to know the players, and just getting a grasp on operations. If somebody comes in that doesn't have a 911 background, which is not a requirement necessarily for this position, they're going to need to get a grasp on those operations.
And you mentioned that Montgomery County is one of the fastest growing counties in the country, and that's not just for any reason. It's a really desirable place to live. You're close to Houston, but you're not in Houston. And obviously we may attract a candidate that is not from the area. Can you kind of tell us what it's like to live and work in the area and what you like best about that place?
Our addressing folks are busy around the clock. We're doing probably 1,200 new address points every month. New streets are being built constantly. There's not much green space left in Montgomery County that if it's not developed, it's already being planned for. But it's not just the number of people. We have some very unique dynamics here in Montgomery County, particularly the ratio of unincorporated population to incorporated population. We have to have the highest ratio, I think, anywhere in Texas. So what that means is we have some cities, but they're fairly small, exception of Conroe, which is a city of a little over 100,000. But of the 700,000 people that live in Montgomery County, only about 150 of them live within city limits. So that means there's a lot of strain on the county services, and there is a lot of special districts. For example, we only have 2 what you would consider municipal fire departments. The rest are emergency service districts. So it's a unique set of governments and structures in place that I don't think you'll find anywhere else.
Can you tell us a little bit about living in Montgomery County? Got Conroe to pick from, which is an excellent city from the times that I've been there. And then, of course, you've got like a place like the Woodlands, and then there's probably several other places. What's the general feel if somebody was moving in from out of the area?
Well, when I first came to this area, there was a definite break. Right? You had the south part of the county, which was closer to Houston, and it had that suburban residential feel to it. And then as you move north past Willis or out to Magnolia, you had definitely a more rural feel. So that's really disappearing. Woodlands is now more like a destination for jobs. So instead of people commuting to someplace else, a lot of jobs happening in the Woodlands. The growth in East Montgomery County is just absurd. It doesn't seem to stop over there. With the Grand Parkway running east to west through the county now, you're able to transverse the county fairly quickly when traffic's not too heavy. So you've got a lot of diversity. You've got a lot of growth around the Lake Conroe. It's a certain lifestyle there versus Montgomery versus East County versus the Woodlands. You will have different types of experiences depending upon what part of the county you choose to live in.
And James, if I could add, being an outsider and getting the pleasure of getting to meet with Chip and go to Montgomery County and spend quite a bit of time there now. I'm doing other jobs around that area for the past 2.5 years. It is aesthetically pleasing. So you have a lot of green space that is already allocated for those areas. A lot of pine trees, a lot of rolling topography, a lot of lake area. So you get all that along with the suburban needs that a new person coming to the marketplace would want. Lots of shopping, lots of great schools. So the things that would attract, I can speak for myself. My family and I would be most definitely interested in that area because it's just a beautiful area that offers a lot of diversity, as Chip said.
The Woodlands, if you've never been there, it's definitely something that you should experience as a city leader. It's just amazing what they've got down there. It is not a city, but a city. It's got all the amenities, but it's kind of shielded by this veil of trees. It's absolutely beautiful down there. I really like the Woodlands. Montgomery County is interesting because you're very close to Houston, so international airports and all those things that you would need for city living or getting out of town, NFL and all kinds of sports related teams and concerts and all you can imagine. But you're north of, the major traffic. You guys have some traffic down there, and you can escape out to the country and to the wilderness and lots of beautiful areas of Texas around Montgomery County as well. So I think you guys are in a very desirable place, just geography wise, also.
Yeah, I agree. And that's a good point about the Woodlands. I didn't mention that in our unique demographics because the Woodlands is not a city. They have a special purpose government. It's a unique feature in Texas, the one of a kind. They're called the township. So they have some powers of a city, but not very many. And they're still relying on county services for a lot of it. So when I say Conroe's our largest city, Woodlands is large, but they're not a city under Texas statutes.
Yeah, definitely an interesting place.
Mm-hmm.
One of the challenges that you guys have with all this growth is the interoperability and the rising cost of maintaining that, technology changes and those kind of things. What does a successful leader need to understand about navigating that complexity?
Well, each of our partner agencies, the Sheriff's Office, Conroe PD, Woodlands Fire Department, Hospital District, and Conroe ISD, they're all unique organizations. They all have their own culture. They've got their own operating policies and assumptions. They've got different political pressures, motivations, but they're all obviously working towards the same goal of serving that citizen that's in distress. So trying to bring them all together to develop methods that are invisible to the caller to make sure that caller is serviced. That's the big challenge. And just understanding and knowing what those different motivations and pressures and cultures are like. We do have a rising cost environment. We don't get to set our own revenue. We are dependent upon primarily the state fee for 911 service on wireless phones. We can set our own rates for landline phones, but nobody has those anymore. We're captured at this moment as far as how much revenue we have, and it's been challenging. We've been going to the state legislature trying to make our case. They have given us different pots of one-time money, but we're looking for, a sustainable 911 source for the future. Our main source of getting everybody to work together in the past has been providing. We're a provider of systems and networks and services. So we were able to get everybody to join together because we've got something to offer. And if that gets taken away, if we have to start paring back what we can offer, it makes it difficult to make one coherent system.
Yeah, it's that inner politics thing is always troublesome to navigate. And I love the fact that you call them partner agencies. I think that's a great term for it. And it's amazing what you can accomplish if everybody will pitch in and do the best for everybody and be actual partners in the deal.
Yes. And because of our unique nature, for example, the Montgomery County Hospital District, they get to focus on just delivering emergency medical dispatch. So they have top-notch call takers, dispatchers in a program. In fact, they're even part of a state program to provide emergency medical dispatch assistance to rural areas throughout the state of Texas. If a caller in a rural area is, going to have to wait 30 minutes for an ambulance to show up, they're going to be transferred to the hospital district here in Montgomery County, and those paramedics and responders are going to be able to get instructions on how to deliver that kind of care.
And Chip, how would you describe your leadership style, and how does it support the mission and people there at the center?
My leadership style is collaborative. It's fairly relaxed. I like to have an organization where I enjoy coming to work every day. I believe this is a fun place to work. It's a place where we talk about our goals and set our work program, and then we have people in place that I expect that they will get the job done. So I don't need to be over their shoulder constantly reminding them. I have open door policies, collaborative style, and I believe that sets the tone for what we want to do, which is to be an organization that listens to the partners in the public and doesn't dictate to. We're given a special task. 911 is such a broad term. When I talk about 911, people think of everything down to the responders out in the field. And so, we're just a small part of that effort, but we want to do it with precision. It all starts with the addressing data, the most accurate addressing and GIS data possible, so that when that 911 call happens, that first of all, the call gets routed to the right place, the right agencies respond, the right units respond, and then we have as much information about that caller as possible. so that they can get services in a quick amount of time. So we want to be professional. We want to do our job. We want to be accurate. We want to be reliable, which means we have redundancy built into everything we do. But we also want to do that in a way where we enjoy being around each other.
Yeah, you highlight in the brochure a culture of service, family, and excellence. How does the team embody that on a day-to-day basis?
Well, service is we remember who we are. We are a public agency. And so all of our assets, all of our focus is on delivering good to the public. Family, we celebrate with each other. We have birthdays. We will do special recognitions. We just did a nice Thanksgiving feast where we did kind of a potluck. The meat was provided, and then everybody else brought the side dishes and just enjoyed eating together. We'll have cornhole tournaments. In case we need to go into 24-hour mode here, we might need to pull out the grill and cook some burgers. So we'll make sure we do that every once in a while to make sure everything's ready to go. We like to celebrate. We like to eat. We like to enjoy each other's company. Service, family, and then the other one is excellence. Two things we're really going to stress. First of all, accuracy in our data. And second, redundancy and backup. We will think about contingencies. We'll do failover tests on a regular basis. We don't have permission to go in and pull anybody's plug just unannounced at this point, but man, that'd be fun to do, to see how everybody responds. But we're confident enough in our backup capabilities that we feel like we could do that unannounced after the initial shock would, be able to respond pretty quickly and get those 911 calls. So that's where we are.
Yeah, it sounds like a great place. If you had to describe the qualities or the mindset that would separate a good candidate from a great one for this position, what would those be?
The qualities that I'm looking for, really, initially, I need help on the support side. So I'm going to look for somebody that's got some general administrative background, finance, budget, accounting, policies, public education, and help with governmental advocacy. Somebody that's strong in those qualities. First of all, the operations side is not as important. I've got very strong operations side. So somebody that can learn and understand the complexity of that. We're looking for somebody also that has the ability to communicate well, both in writing and to the public. So that's what I'm going to be focusing on.
And if you could speak directly to those considering applying, what would you want them to know before hitting submit?
So yeah, I do want them to know how unique Montgomery County is. I want them to know how much we value collaboration, not just internally, but also among our partner agencies, and that we have big plans for the future, and that we need somebody to help us develop those plans and execute those to plan for what 911 is going to look like around here for the next 20 to 30 years.
Yeah, and since this is a fairly unique role, can you think about, it wouldn't be an inclusive list maybe, or all-inclusive list, but can you tell us some of the job titles that somebody might have that this might be something that they've got in their skill set and they've not even thought about it potentially?
I think if you're coming from a general government background, like a municipal background or county government, looking for, maybe an analyst, administrative assistant, or deputy to a city manager, or assistant to a city manager kind of background. If you're coming from the public safety side, if you've got background on some administrative roles and responsibilities, I think that would be helpful as well.
And we're really focusing, James, on people that have project management, understanding FG&A, like Chip said, so finance and those understandings, budgetary responsibilities. So if they took the lead in whatever capacity that they served for the organization that they're currently at in those type of roles, that would be a highlight for us.
Brian, can you tell us what the salary and benefits for this position will be?
Sure. So our posted salary range is from $134,000 and goes to $167,000, depending on qualifications. So quite a robust compensation package. And I will say that the very employee-centric benefits package as well.
It's a pretty nice salary range down there. So hopefully that'll attract a lot of good candidates.
We think it will.
How would candidates, if they had questions, get in touch with you, or if they were ready to apply, how would they do that?
Sure. So they can reach out to me at 972-786-2901 and then go through the CLEAR website as well to apply.
Brian, is there anything else we need to mention before we wrap up?
The only thing additional I would add is just kind of coloring in what Chip has said, and that's really service oriented. So service from a governmental entity standpoint, service within the organization to one another, that collaboration that he spoke about, and then looking to always be excellent in everything that we do. And I know that that's what the group that I met with, and specifically with Chip, but his team really focused in on that. And they treat each other like that family, a place that you'd want to work in. And therefore, they hold each other accountable, make each other better, and providing that type of service to Montgomery County as a whole.
Thank you, Brian. Chip, I've been really impressed listening to the job duties and the things that you guys are doing. When you think about public safety, of course, no one thinks about what you guys are doing. It's a vital role for sure. We always think about the police officers answering the call and firefighters and the emergency medical technicians showing up. But if you guys weren't able to do what you do, they probably still show up. I mean, we did manage a long time ago with call boxes and lights on the water tower to let you know that there was a call for you, but providing much better service with the technology and the back end that you guys have.
Yes, and sometimes the old timers will talk about, what happens if everything goes down. They say, well, we get out the legal pads and the pens. Things fail over to a desktop telephone, and we just handle it. But yeah, we do. That is the goal. Whether it's a telephone call or a text, and whatever way we're going to come up with in the future, we're looking at some very interesting AI products right now to assist those telecommunicators, being able to translate on the fly for your voice to actually turn into the caller to hear the instructions from the call taker in their own language is something that we think we can turn on very soon. All those things, all dedicated to try to get as much help to the call taker as possible in as short as amount of time.
Yeah, it's a great mission. Can you think of anything that we've left out that you'd like to follow up with, or anything you'd like to say to prospective candidates before we wrap up?
I think you've had a good thorough discussion here. I'm really interested in seeing the quality of the candidates as they come through.
We're excited as you are. I know we've got a few come in already, and I'm sure as we advertise and push this out, we'll see several more come in. Very desirable place, good salary range, good benefits. I'm not sure what anybody could ask for more than that, and hamburgers sometimes.
That's right.
Well, Chip, thank you for being here, and a big thank you to you and Montgomery County for entrusting Clear with this recruitment. Brian, thank you for being with us here today. To the listeners, to apply to this position or others, please visit our LinkedIn page or our webpage, and we will catch you next time.